Okay, here's some good work on these polynomial functions. First question, find axis symmetry, vertex, max, min, y-intercept. Okay, so when you look at these functions, if it's written out in this form, the ax squared plus bx plus c form, the last term, so positive 59, would be your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is 0 and 59. Then to find your vertex, you can either try and put it sort of in this form. There's some other steps you'd have to do. Or you can use this vertex formula. That's a perfect one. So you find that. So this, it looks like the, no, it's minus b. So it's negative and negative 32. Oh, so it's positive 32. Go 2 times 4 at 8. 4. Good. So 4 is the x coordinate of the vertex. To find the y coordinate, you just plug in a value of 4 for the function. So everywhere you see an x in this function up here, you plug in a 4. Minus 32 times 4 plus 59. 16 times 4 is about 64. 32 times 4 is that 128-ish. Plus 59, so that'd be negative 64. Plus 59 looks to be about negative 5. So negative 5 would be the y coordinate of that vertex. And then to find the max or min, axis of symmetry is always that first value of the vertex. So your axis of symmetry is x is equal to 4. And then your max or min value is always the second one. And so your maximum or minimum value would be a y value of negative 5. I need to know whether it's a max or min though. Since the sign out front there's positive, it means the parabola is like this. Therefore, there's a minimum value. So it's going to be a minimum value of negative 5. That's as low as it'll go. Okay, and the next question, it looks fine. I would have probably left the function like that and done my two brackets as x minus 3, x minus 2. But the way you did it, it looks like it came out to the same thing, right? X equals 3, x equals 2. So yeah, that's fine. Let's see, graph the function, show your work and determine the x-intercepts. Oh, so to graph it, I've got an x squared out front here. So my x-intercepts are 3, 2, and 0, an x value of 0. Because right there, x squared equals 0. That would actually give you two x-intercepts of 0. So you'd have a 0 and a 0 because it's x squared. So you'd have 0 with a multiplicity of 2. And that's related to the next question. Okay, so to graph it, right there at 0 something happens, at 2 something happens, and at 3 something happens. Well, it's interesting that oh no, you can graph this. So since it's a coordinate graph, I know it starts high and ends high, and it has little bumps in it like that. So I've got to do that kind of thing with those points. So when I come down at 0, since it's a multiplicity of 2, that's where it just comes down and touches the graph and goes back up. And then it'll come and go through this one and through that one and back up. So that's how the graph's going to look. So it's similar to that, but that's how you could do it with the points. On the final question, it says find the zeros of the polynomial function, state the multiplicity each. I'm betting that this is a group factoring guide. So x cubed plus 7x squared minus x minus 7. So if I group factor, so I'm factoring x squared out of there, I'm left with x plus 7. Out of the next part, I'm going to factor out a negative 1, left with an x plus 7. And so this will be x plus 7 times x squared minus 1. And x squared minus 1 is the difference of squares. So it'll be x plus 7 times x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, so that is a cubic. Oh, they didn't ask you to graph it. We should graph that one. Might as well graph it. So if these are my zeros, all of them, there's just one of them. So my 0 for this one would be a -7. For this would be a +1. For that one would be a -1. But there's only one of them, so all of them would have a multiplicity of 1. So there are 3 zeros because it's a cubic, but they're all different, so it's multiplicity 1. To graph, something happens at -7, something happens at 1, and something happens at -1. It's a cubic, so it has to look like this, and it's positive, so it's this way, not that way. So I'm going to come up from here, go through there, come back down, go that way, and then come back up. Just for fun, you can also say that last term is your y-intercept, so that point right there has to be -7. Hopefully that helps you with those 3 questions.